I'm Kate Welsh. Chauffeur Michael has the night off, and we want to start with the Bills Stadium deal, and specifically the money that the state is spending on it. You've probably heard by now that money is coming from the casino revenue that the Senecas were ordered to turn over to the state after withholding it since 2017 in a dispute with Albany. More than $550 million went to the state last month, and soon after, Governor Hochul announced that it would fund the stadium, with a statement thanking the Senecas for, quote, fulfilling their commitment to the people of New York. The Seneca Nation responded by calling it ransom money and shameless greed. Today, Pete Gallivan sat down with Seneca President Matthew Pagels to speak in person for the first time about this dispute.
Well, it has been nearly 2 weeks since New York State froze the accounts of the Seneca Nation. The nation officials tell us that basically financially paralyzed the nation and the people who live here. New York was acting on a subpoena and forcing an end to a years-long dispute over $546 million in revenue-sharing funds. It also, in effect, financially paralyzed the nation in many ways and forced their hands. In the following days, Governor Kathy Hochul announced that a large portion of that, more than $418 million, would be used as part of the state's share of the new stadium funding. Since then, the Seneca Nation has started a protest media campaign, taking out ad time on local television stations, including Channel 2, to criticize the methods that were used and the motivation behind the asset seizure. This morning, I sat down with Seneca Nation President Matthew Pagels to discuss what has transpired and what's next for the Seneca Nation.
The council, the body of 16 elected officials, probably correctly decided at the January council session to stand pat. Let's let the NIGC conduct and finish the review with community input. They continued to just, let's allow these agencies to interpret what has been done, and the timeliness that their inaction by NIGC at the National Indian Gaming or the Department of Interior, their inaction is what kind of strong-armed us into what had transpired in the last couple weeks. But we did find out that they were going to potentially hold operating accounts. We reached out to the state and they said, no, you can still operate, just nothing extravagant or outrageous, like don't go spend $50 million on something. They were just, as long as you're continuing to operate within your parameters, you're fine. We wake up Saturday morning and I have my CFO of the corporation and the government saying, we have no money. They've frozen everything and we cannot operate. Every check that went out Friday is going to bounce on Monday. All our prescription medicine payments, all of our rental assistance payments, all our payroll that hasn't been cashed is going to bounce on Monday.
And as you're hearing this, what's going through your head?
I am feeling defeated, choked out, strong-armed. The strangle that was imposed was overreaching, and another act of Albany to not acknowledge the Seneca Nation as a partner, just use us as a way to fund whatever they choose to do. Monday, the Seneca Nation chooses to release the payment because we can't operate. We're considering closing the government, closing the casinos, not paying employees, not putting meals on their tables because we're not going to be able to have funds to operate. So the body of 16 approves the payment to New York State. And how wrong that feels that we still didn't just allow the federal agencies to do their job hurts. We didn't like the concept, but then to wake up that Tuesday morning and get the gut punch in which she gave us, she glorifies the Seneca money as a win to the community.
She in fact said, I would like to thank President Pagels and the nation for fulfilling their commitment to the people of New York. What was your reaction when you heard those words, given the backdrop of everything that was going on?
It was a backhanded compliment. The money was always there. We always had fulfilled the promise. Everybody in the legal proceedings were well aware that the money was always there.
Because there are still a lot of people that aren't on territory that really just know this peripherally will say, well, why didn't they just pay the money that they owed the state years ago? What have you got to say to people who think that you owed the money, you should have paid it?
The compact is so complex that nothing is ever that easy, especially when you allow lawyers in the room. Things get convoluted and stories aren't just as easy as you owe the money, pay it. The compact had language that was added to it by a set of arbitrators, and that was never allowable in the compact. Any kind of amendment or change to the compact needed federal review.
As for what's next, President Pagels says he's hoping for a complete review from Washington before he renegotiates the compact with the state. The current compact expires in 2023. On the Seneca Nation, Pete Gallivan, Channel 2 News.
Thank you, Pete. And Pete's been speaking with others in the Seneca Nation. We'll be hearing more next week about how this is bringing them together, the message they have for the state, and how they plan to deliver it.